Key? She greeted me at the door.
Yeah.
Nice to see you. How was it there?
It was a good day.
Keys. Where's the key hanger? This house so empty. Key hanger, maybe? Key box? Key locker? Nikki, what can you do with these keys for me? Huh? Or what can you do for these keys for me, Nikki?
I think I have an idea. LoveCraft #2.
Good evening everyone, and welcome to Rena Mo's Designs. Today I'm going to show you our LoveCraft of a key holding box. I'm using simple items that you can pick up at the Dollar Tree or Michael's or Hobby Lobby, which are wooden alphabets, a wooden box, some simple white paint, and a sponge brush. Let's get into our craft, our LoveCraft. So as you can see, the very first thing that we're going to do is remove any kind of stickers or labels that you have on the box. And the same thing with the alphabets if the ones you pick up happen to have them on there. Then, as usual, we're going to take our trusty paint and paintbrush and go ahead and add one layer of paint and then allow it to dry. I did 2 layers all together. And because I wanted to show the wood grain of the box, that it was truly wood. But you could use a stain for that same type of effect if you want a darker box. Or you can put multiple layers of paint, whatever color it is that you choose or that goes with your palette in your home, the color palette that you have. And make it as opaque and dark as you want or as light as you want. It's your preference. This angle isn't exactly the best angle to show you how I'm painting the box, but it's really self-explanatory and everyone knows how to paint a box. But I did want to apologize for not being completely in focus. You know, whenever you're doing videos and you are your own editor and producer, you have to see what's going on above you, and it looks great in the beginning when you first set it up, but once you actually turn on the camera to record, it self-adjusts itself. So forgive me for not being 100% in the frame. So here I'm just about complete with painting the box. So after you paint anything, you always want to make sure that you're 100% dry before you try and add another layer, or before you try to do any kind of embellishment. So we're gonna let this dry. Next thing you see are the actual wooden alphabets that I have pulled out of the bag that spell the word keys. And now I'm gonna apply the same white paint to those letters and allow them to dry so that I can then go on to the next step. Speaking of the next step, we're gonna do our first ever video using resin. And this came in a gift box set, if you will, for a project of studio resin that came from Hobby Lobby. So the next part that you see is me here with the box, and the box is already the resin, the pebbles, and the decorative stones. And you'll see that I'll also use some stones that I picked up at one of the dollar stores. It's not from Dollar Tree. I do believe that it's from Epic Dollar, and they're They're beautiful stones, very large, and they have this iridescence to them, and it really sets the box off once you see the completed project. Now here I'm just shaking the box and trying to rearrange the stones so that they're blended and mixed well, so that there's no patches of one color as opposed to the others. This really helps to take the eye to different areas of the tray and also give it an illusion of depth as opposed to texture, because you're not really going to get texture with this with these small stones. So right there I showed you the larger stones that I was talking about, and just wait until you see the effect that it really gives to this particular LoveCraft project. You'll see that this is where you will end up getting and seeing more depth and a little bit of texture, because the eyes kind of, there's an illusion because you have different sizes. Just look how pretty that looks. It looks like river stones. It's just so gorgeous. I truly love it. So here I'm adding my word, which is keys, and then I will finagle that so I can get it as straight as possible. And then we will begin pouring our resin. So working with resin, those of you that have been followers of mine, you know that I've been a lover of epoxy over E6000 glue. And with epoxy, you have an A and a B portion that you mix together. Well, it's the same idea in concept with resin. You have an A portion of resin, which would be the solution, and a B portion of the resin, which would actually be the hardener. You have to mix equal parts, otherwise your resin will be ruined. So I'm taking equal parts of these bottles, which I believe these bottles are either 2 ounce bottles or 4 ounce bottles that come into the gift set. And with my measuring cup that was provided, I am taking half of the portion of each one of the resin bottles and mixing them into this cup. And you mix them until they are thoroughly mixed. You shouldn't have too many bubbles. You want to stir, but you don't want to stir it too fast, because then you'll whip air into it and you'll have a hard time getting all those bubbles out. You want to mix it nice and steady so that everything is combined without you whipping air into the product. So here I'm off camera still stirring, making sure that everything is completely combined. But once you're done, you go ahead and you pour your resin over your rocks. You want to get every little bit of that resin out of your measuring cup, because you're going to need every little bit of it. Now, once you have poured your resin over the rocks, the only thing you have to do now is give it time to cure. You must not touch it for 24 hours. Don't touch it. Don't move it. Let it sit and cure for 24 hours. You'll be tempted to touch it because it looks so pretty, but don't. If you do, you will ruin it. See, I told you it was pretty, and I also told you it's tempting to touch, because it just looks like these letters are suspended in water, but it's not water. It's resin. So exercise patience. It'll be so worth it in the end.
Hey, Vicky, you greeting me again? Whoa, your iPhone. This is beautiful. You mean I can just drop, it says keys, I can just drop my keys in there?
Yep.
Just like it's place. Not gonna break.
No, it's not gonna break. It's special for you.
It's really pretty. I like it. The rocks in there. How did you do that? Did you show them up close?
I sure did.
That's a thumbs up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Keep up. Maybe we could write something on the side. See how we're creative too.
Yeah.
agape love? You know what agape love is? The highest form of love. Unconditional love from God, our Creator. Maybe we can put this on. That is really nice. How did you get started? How did you do that? Creativity.